Now, to discuss all of the fast-moving politics, we have Democratic strategist Richard Socarides, a former advisor to President Bill Clinton, and knowledgeable on many of these issues. What do you make of this shift, that you basically have even the people who thought they could get away with this feeling they need to move, if for political reasons, if not for substance?
Well, I think that chain of events that you just described is a remarkable chain of events, which, just even 5 years ago would never have been possible. And as you say, it shows how dramatically the center of gravity around this issue has changed. And, a year ago, we had a little bit of a preview of this when Jan Brewer in Arizona, the former governor of Arizona, vetoed a very similar bill. Sure. She saw what was coming, and, Governor Brewer, never thought to be the smartest smartest tack in the box, saw this coming. So I think you could see it coming, but it's been a remarkable couple of weeks around this.
What do you think of what Senator Rubio tried to do in threading that needle and saying, well, the real issue is that religious people face their own kind of reverse discrimination here?
Well, I don't think it'll be successful. I think what we as Democrats believe is that religious freedom has been an important American value and will continue to be an important American value, but we have always been able to realize that religious liberty is important while at the same time putting the value of equality front and center. So these two values have coexisted in American law and in American governance for a long time. I think it's interesting that Hillary Clinton was right out of the box on this. The day this Indiana law was passed, she came out against it, and I think it will shape up as an interesting and important issue in the 2016 campaign.
And some of the political history in Indiana that's specific is they had an earlier battle over marriage equality recently, and the courts basically prevented that, and the courts writ large in the Supreme Court now looking at a case to essentially nationalize marriage equality. Is there a sort of a desperation here for folks who want to give something on the right to the evangelicals, but don't have a lot of policies to play with, so they end up over in what I think for people who aren't obsessed with politics looks like a weird side issue, right. The wedding cake, wedding photos issue.
You're exactly right, and that's exactly what happened. I mean, let's just be candid about this. This is coming up now because the Supreme Court, everybody expects in June, will rule that every state, all 50 states, have to allow same-sex marriage. You have to be able to right. to marry the person you love. So Indiana, this is where the right has wanted to do battle now around this issue of so-called religious freedom, but it totally backfired on them because businesses especially understand that you can't discriminate against any kind of customer, and states trying to promote economic development understand that you can't say this state, business in this state is closed to any one individual group.
And doesn't there seem to be a little bit of a fixation on what, if people believe that a certain kind of sex or love is a sin, and some people have that religious belief, isn't there sort of a fixation on this? Because you don't hear about people quizzing their potential wedding customers about, well, did you have premarital sex before this wedding? Because that's going to come into whether I, as a Christian or whatever, can do your wedding photo.
It's a strange preoccupation indeed. And in fact, obviously, same-sex marriage only applies to civil marriage. There will never be a church that is compelled in this country to perform a gay wedding that doesn't want to. Obviously, some denominations are coming around and do, but that will never happen. So this is purely a law which would permit private companies, corporations, who don't really have personalities, they're not people. This law was much broader than any of the other laws ever passed before. But most importantly, what happened here was context. Mike Pence's problem, Governor Pence's problem, is he is really lying through his teeth. When he says now that it was never the intention to discriminate, that is exactly what this bill was intended to do. This bill was intended to be a gift to religious conservatives who wanted to take a stand against gay marriage. And when he signed this bill, he had all the anti-gay lobbyists surrounding him. So when he comes up today, when the governor comes out today and says, this was never my intention, this was never the intention, he's just out and out lying. And that's why he has no cover. That's why it's been so difficult for them.
Yeah, they went from this is something we're proud of to no one understands what this does to everyone understands it and we're sorry, sort of, we might fix it. Richard Socarides, thank you for your time tonight. And now we turn to discussing whether